A new trailer just dropped for the upcoming DLC for Age of Empires 4 Knights of Crosses and Roses, and while a lot of you may have seen it, I imagine a lot of you didn't catch all of the small details hidden within the trailer. Let's have a look. We're going to go through this live, and I'm going to break it down for you, because there's some interesting revelations that maybe aren't seen at first glance. Obvious ones are things like the Lancaster walking around here for Knights Templar. This is to be expected. It looks like they're going to be able to choose a unique unit per age, so a lot of variability game to game. But there's more interesting revelations as time goes on here, folks, for Knights Templar and for the House of Lancaster. So we'll start off with the KT. Already a few that come in here. So for a start, Knights Templar, they seem to have something interesting happening over here, folks. You see this in the southern corner, that little projectile thing where my cursor is? That's coming from the cavalry unit. Now, we did mention in our previous video that there seems to be at least 3 cav types for Knights Templar. What I wasn't quite expecting is that one of them would be a skirmisher type. You see that moving that projectile? If we click back now, boom, you see the origin point. So this is in fact going to be a javelin / pelter / skirmisher on horseback, unique to Knights Templar, someone that we haven't really had in the game so far. So already changing things up in a big way. We also do see the hooded Knights Templar guys up here, almost looking like a villain from a Harry Potter movie. Interesting, actually, like the amount of different men-at-arms-esque units that Knights Templar has tells you they're clearly going to be very infantry-focused, but I'm wondering what the specific roles are going to be. Typically, you'd imagine these are going to be the most tanky, very expensive standard men-at-arms here. Are these maybe more lightly armored, but, shall we say, more versatile? I don't want to say shinobi levels of versatility. I'm not expecting blinking and dodging like that, but maybe a little bit more maneuverability with high DPS, low armor. But it's not the only thing we get to see in here. We do see that the castles are going to be exuding auras, but on top of that, the castles themselves are going to be exuding godly levels of chadliness. That is indeed a trebuchet / mangonel on top of it. I say / mangonel because look at the wallop and the amount of projectiles coming out. It's so strong. You did see that correctly. It can one-hit a mangonel. This is also another interesting one. We have another ship getting added to the game. I know people are, don't want to hear about this, but might finally be the first front shooting ship that looks good. It's shooting mangonel shots. Now, when you see the flag, you see the red, some people might think that this is the House Lancaster. It's not. If you actually look closely, you can see that this is actually the emblem of St. Mark, who is the patron saint of Venice. That is an interesting thought here. We knew Knights Templar was going to rep some HRE, some French, all these different people. We're seeing Venetian presence as well. Could this be a prelude to Venetians in the game later? Either way, I'm excited to see it. I know a lot of people mentioned Venetians, Italian states before, so cool to see them getting some representation here. On the House of Lancaster, we do once again have the kings coming around. Curious to see if this is going to be a unit that exists at the start of the game, or one that you have to invest into. And also, we have seen kings on horseback. We'll see them later on this video, so it might be a case that they kind of level up with age per se. I'm not expecting the full-fledged Jean, but maybe something lower on form than that. We do see on top of the wall, we've got what seems to be the Yeoman, the new archer unit for them. It looks like they do attack a little bit quicker than the standard archers. I think that's going to be the trade-off, is probably attack speed with some extra damage into armor bonus damage to give them a unique role compared to almost any other archer in the game. On top of that, we have these men who are a new hybrid unit. They're throwing daggers. This is a little bit like the Donzo's hybrid attacks. They are actually dual-wielding Warhammer units, but they open up with a dagger shot. Now, whether that dagger shot is going to have armor penetration, I'm not sure. I'm expecting the Warhammer itself to be bonus against armor, but really cool to just see another unique unit like this. We haven't really had any Warhammer-type units. We've had the two-handed maces, but that's a little bit different. But I like that House Lancaster is having a little bit more depth than maybe was previously obvious. We do have the announcement of a lot of the unique battles. Of course, Battle of Agincourt had to finally make an appearance in Age of Empires 4. Glad to see that. But also, you're going to be able to score times on this. Kind of like we have the challenges. So you can challenge yourself to set a better time over God knows how many attempts. I'm hoping that these will be able to be posted online, that there'll actually be a trackable leaderboard in-game that we can have a look at to see how we're doing against the rest of the world. That's really what's missing. You need to have that community element to bring those in the single player into the online environment in an inviting way, that they can feel like they want to engage when they want to engage, not have to all the time. Outside that, though, we do have also the announcement of the Conqueror mode, which is take these historical battles, complete them, and then juice them up into a never-ending zombie apocalypse by the looks of it. It seems like it's a never-ending wave of death. Survive as long as you can. Kind of like what makes Call of Duty Zombies so good for people over the years is the fact that you go as long as you can until you get broke. We do also have the announcement of 10 new maps, rather. I'm going to zoom out on this because actually this didn't really explain anything with the pictures, but the blog post did. So we've got Relic River, which is a curious one. I imagine there's going to be ramps to get up these cliff sides, but it looks like we might be featuring some sort of waterfall effect, which we haven't seen in Age of Empires 4 so far. I love that. New terrain types, new mechanics to interact with on the maps. It's really what's needed for the map creators. We're limited on what we actually have to make maps good. We need more interactive elements to diversify the map pool. Mountain Lakes to me just looks like a fix for Ancient Spires. Water Lanes may actually be the second good map for team games. Now, I was thinking about this one. In a 1v1, I'm hoping they're not going to spawn both players on the central island. I think the way you do it is you spawn here and here. And it's kind of like Anatolian Hills that we recently saw in our KPMMs. I think it's a cool idea that you have to move out. But for team games, this could have a different identity, just like Gorge does, where you could spawn each player opposite each other. So you can have kind of like what Jousting Fields has, and then you can transfer across. I like that more because Jousting Fields' issues is ever since they fixed the chop through, it kind of sucks as a map. This would fix that issue. So I think Water Lanes will be a very good addition if this is the way they're imagining it. Wasteland is kind of intriguing. It seems like the idea is going to be something like squishing people to a mountain clearing size with trees behind them, so they have resources to tap into and then focus them towards each other. So a bit of a quicker map to rush into. Shadow Lake is also going to be a curious one. I think people are probably going to just play it a little bit like French Pass, where they wall off the sides, and then one person wins the water. Where this could get very interesting is if there's no fish. I hope there's no fish on this map, because my issue is if there's no fish, then people can transfer across, you can play around walls. If there is fish, someone's going to win water, and then you can't get around at all. It's like a worse Baltic Oasis, right? So I hope, really, really hope, that this is a case of no fish in here at all, just tactical play. Then it could actually be a decent map. Rugged, it's kind of hard to tell based on the picture. It just looks like a lot of low ground, high ground. It kind of looks like the players are going to start in the low ground, which is intriguing, and then play into the high ground areas. But a lot of dips and divots. If they had Stealth Forest down in these low grounds, I think that maybe like makes it kind of intriguing. Risk reward of getting by unnoticed. Not sure what else to make this unique. Highwoods is kind of just looking like a worse high view. I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical on this one, depending on where the players spawn. If they spawn in the corners, sure, but if they spawn central, it's going to be high view like 2.0. Hedge Maze is kind of a meme. So you look at this map, and the most logical spots it must spawn people in is here and here. So you're all spawning south side and then rushing north. So it feels like this is a map that will get decided very early on, not later in the game, because you're going to fight each other in this choke point initially, and you could box someone in. So I think this will be a map that's kind of comedial a few times, but then gets repetitive quickly. Flankwood seems interesting to me. I actually like the way that you've kind of got this stealth forest on the outskirts, because remember, the broken branches trees are stealth forest, and then it's a longer route, but it allows you to hide your activity, and then you've got the central sacred sites to encourage play out to the map. And then finally, we have what is going to definitely be a Delhi dominant map. It's kind of like a King of the Hill-esque thing. It looks like the player's going to spawn in the northeast and southeast corner, but there's 3 sacred sites here. It's going to be Delhi dominant. The hill on the high ground is kind of intriguing for dropping a keep, but that's why I'm thinking King of the Hill. But yeah, overall, only final details we'll go back to the trailer for. We see them tease the maps a little bit. They even show some new terrain types. But the big thing is we do have the release date. It's going to be the 8th of April, and we need to quickly talk about the elephant in the room. It is the price. I know what people are thinking already. It's the same price as Sons Ascend. It's not the same amount of content. But honestly, guys, I think we got it way too good with Sons Ascend. Can we just agree on that? I think people are going to look at it this way, and it's unfortunately the nature of human brain, right? We're going to look at this way that we had it at this price. Why is it now this price? When in reality, it's like, we had it at this price. Why was it ever this price? Like, Sons Ascend was insane bang for buck. So I hope people support this. I think Knights of Cross and Rose is still a decent proposition, especially if there's several historical battles in there. They shoot at least 4 there, and the replayability that comes with them, and 2 very unique new civs. I think that's worth the price of admission, especially in this day and age. I don't think it's too much to ask. I just think we kind of set ourselves up for this situation where people wouldn't be happy because Sons Ascend was way too cheap. But let me know what you guys think. Are you hyped for the content? Was there anything that you didn't catch here? And maybe is there something that I didn't see that you did? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you all in the next chapter.